Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have an interesting conversation. Beaten but not crushed. I can't wait for you to hear it. I have an awesome guest with me today, Pamela Babirukamu. Welcome to the channel. We're going to discuss so many things. Divorce, infertility, adoption, grief, like it's a lot. I just want you guys to sit back, yeah? Get your pens and papers and listen because Pamela has a beautiful story. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you're here. It's an emotional time for me because I've known Pamela since I was a little girl and now we are here. It's exciting. So I'd just like you to introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? Do you have children? Just introduce yourself.
Wow. Okay. I am Pamela Babirukamu, like you have been told.
Yeah.
I am a mother of two
Yeah.
girls, a single mother of two girls. And I am what you would call a ball of sunshine.
Okay.
I'm vivacious. I am fun-loving.
Yeah.
I love to spend quality time with people. I love a good and a hearty laugh. And when I'm laughing, I don't hold back. I just make sure that I really let myself out. I love to travel and have fun, but in good company.
Yeah.
More than the sightseeing. Amazingly, I am a transformation life coach and also a student to be certified as an abundance life coach, abundance mindset life coach. So I love coaching. I am also the co-founder of Evolving Woman, an organization that empowers women to live life to their full potential. And our niche is confidence building and self-awareness.
Amazing.
And that's a little bit about who I am.
Okay, that's interesting to know. So I recently learned from an event that you organized, A Night with a King, that our pain, when we heal, is supposed to light the path for others.
Yeah.
And I just want the audience here to just hear about what you've been through. Yeah, I know you've been through divorce, infertility, and all these things. How has that journey been like? If you just walk us through your story.
Wow, my story, do you have all day? I can say that I got married at the age of 26 from a very shielded childhood. My parents were middle-class parents, so I didn't even struggle to get school fees, or I had all I needed, not necessarily all I wanted.
Yeah.
But so when I get to university, the first biggest adversity I ever went through was not getting the university choice or the university course of my dreams. I had applied for architecture and I got industrial and fine art. Looking back, I'm really happy that I did fine art.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually been a good part of my story. Okay. And so from university, I got married at the age of 26. And in our time, these days, girls get married quite early. Yeah. Probably 23 or 22.
Like 22.
Yeah. By that time, for us, we were still really, even at university, studying, but also wondering, I mean, still thinking we're just getting out of university. We don't even know what this whole thing called marriage and stuff is. Anyway, those days, I was one of the first people to get married in my at 26. People would get married like much later. Yeah. And so I got married at 26 to a gentleman that I had known for 2 years. And when I got married, I had so many ambitions. Yeah. One of them was have 3 children by 30 and close that chapter, because we had this thing, if you're 30 and you're done, then your body gets back in shape.
And you can do other things.
You can go and do all sorts of things, PhDs and all. Yeah. And then by 35, my plan was to be financially independent. I don't know what it meant at that point, and I still don't know what that means. Yeah. But anyway, I was like kind of on schedule for almost everything in my life, doing generally well. Yeah. And by 35, when I wanted to be financially independent, by that time, that was 9 years, so 10 years into marriage, I separated with my husband and divorced. But prior to that, all through the 10 years, I never had children. I was struggling. So I had lots of failed fertility treatment.
Okay.
And I know that there are many people who've been through that, and it's really painful. That was like the most, I have never been so angry in my life. Like if you crossed my path there, my emotions were haywire. I'd go for a wedding and I'm crying. I just didn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But just know that I did all sorts of fertility treatments and they didn't work. You know how expensive they were.
First pause a bit. You know, I just want to hear. So you get into marriage. Were you trying, and then when did you realize that maybe something is wrong?
Okay, maybe I didn't say that. I had a hormonal imbalance.
Okay.
And I knew that since I was a teenager. And so I got married knowing that there was a possibility that I was going to find issues having children. And the first thing I did was to take my husband to see a doctor before we got married, just to explain to him what this whole thing was about.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing that every doctor that saw me said, this was piece of cake. Because even the treatments I had at the beginning were really cheap. They'll just give me hormonal tablets and say, you'll be fine. Let's see how the cycle goes, blah, blah, blah. But amazingly, it didn't work out as they expected. So they kept on stepping up to, you know, like a more expensive, more detailed treatment. And it was just amazing that the last time I ever did treatment, I was trying to get my eggs ready for conception. And unfortunately, the eggs that had been ripening, the next month I went, like the third month I went, and I was ready, we were ready for conception. The eggs had retrogressed. Like how you have ripe mangoes and then they become unripe.
What?
Yeah. So that is when I realized that God was in this thing. Then I started my journey of fighting God. I really was mad with him because along that journey, I am a born-again Christian. And I had, together with my husband, we had started a fellowship for couples that were waiting on God for children. And we had collected quite a number of people, and many of them had come in, gotten children, left. And I crack a joke all the time that I was a signpost showing people the direction, and I never got there.
Oh my God, yeah.
So, so throughout that time, I got to a point where I realized, oops, okay, you know what? I think I need to stop this treatment. It was taking a toll on me. I was really like angry with God. Then along the way, my brother passed. So when my brother passed, that was the end of my treatment because then I had so many issues I was dealing with.
Were you really close? Yeah.
We were very close. I followed my brother and he was such a pivotal person in my life. You know, the kind of guy who my first car that I bought, I had 50%. He gave me 50 and said, pay me every month until the money is done. You know, that kind of person in your life, the kind of person you call whenever you have a problem and you're sure he'll come running, you know. So yeah, we're really close, really close. We're just 1 year apart. And he died of leukemia. It was such a, you know, when he was going through his treatment, I was also going through my treatment. So the two mixed together just couldn't work for me. And so when he passed, that was the beginning of now the real life. My marriage started going down the road then because I was emotionally unstable and I didn't feel like my husband was supporting me enough. Probably he didn't know what to do, but I felt like he wasn't there enough. So we started having fights, and our fights were not about fertility. No.
Really?
No. If anything, the fertility discussion was a bit uncomfortable, more from his family. Because then his brothers were feeling like he needed to go out and, you know,
find something.
Kid, you know, do it for yourself. You're growing old. He was 9 years older than me, and so part of me really wanted him to step out, so that then I don't have the pressure. The pressure goes down. But then the other part was like, because his mother actually asked me that, you know, wouldn't you mind him going out, so that you sit here and relax, this is your home, but let him have kids out. And I just thought about this whole Haggai thing. I just said, no, I can't be party to it. Though a small thing inside
was like, maybe.
If he did, I would somehow feel better that I'm not holding him back. And so after my brother passed, 2008, it was just 2008. Shortly after that, we separated, my husband and I, for 1.5 years. And in these 1.5 years, he walked out to go and work. He was working up country, but we had a fight, like any fights you have, and you just tell the person, if you don't feel like you would like to make me happy, don't come back. Those things we say. So go to work and don't come back. And he never came back for 1.5 years.
No.
Yes. And I started running around like a headless chicken.
Was he texting? Were you communicating? Or he just didn't come physically?
He didn't come physically, but you'll see he was not texting. I mean, he was clear. He said, you chased me away and I'm not coming back. And I employed every mercenary that you can think of, best man, matron, parents,
to talk to him.
What. And he came back 1.5 years later.
Saying what now?
He had gone away and he was angry and he needed to cool down. And that to me should have been also a red flag. That, somebody was not so committed to this marriage.
Commitment.
But I think I was really naive. I kept on thinking that the God who brought him back after 1.5 years will just sustain this marriage. It was like as if it was just promised to me. Secondly, the fact that I had been born and raised in a Christian home, and then I went to Gayaza. I just felt like there is no other way out. I mean, I can't be among the statistic of those who are divorced.
So it has to work.
It has to work, hook or crook. So we pushed just for 1 more year when he came back. And exactly 1 year down the road, he left. This time he left and went to South Africa. He said he'd gotten a job, and I said bye, and he left. And when he left, he did not come back for 7 years.
And now, that's so hard to hear, because now in those 7 years, what are you doing? Are you still thinking you're married, or
have rings? When he has done, there's a family function at their side, I'm also there masquerading like a wife. Did anyone know what you were going through? Yes, it was very clear that we were not together. At least his family was aware, my family was aware. My friends were, and I was still struggling with whether it was final, because God hates divorce.
As a Christian,
just no way I was going to divorce. So along the way, then he came back. He came back actually after 4 years, but the divorce was after 7 years, like 3 more years. And when he came back, clearly he never came back home, so that was clear that he wasn't interested. So I managed to get his new number and called and said, what do you think about this? He said, but this marriage died long ago, move on.
Oh my God.
I think I was mad like for 3 hours. I wiped him out of the house. Imagine for 4 years, his shirts were still in the wardrobe, his things were still well organized. Our papers were still together, blah blah blah. In the next 3, and that was on a message, an SMS. In the next 3 hours, I had wiped him out of the house. Pulled down the photos, packed his bags.
And I just want to know, because you're saying it's not the fertility that led to the divorce. So what was that? Can you pinpoint that it's this?
I think it was really communication breakdown. But now I can say it in confidence that I think we're not meant to be together. God says what he has put together, let no man put asunder. But there's sometimes when you have put yourselves together.
And not God.
Because clearly, throughout the marriage, I had been struggling with emotional torture. It was never, I'm beating you or I'm abusing you. It's like, I'm angry with you and therefore I don't speak to you for 1 week. There's a time when you didn't speak for absolutely 1 month in the same bed and you're not talking.
Oh my God.
So you can imagine, I actually got herpes after that. I woke up one morning and I had herpes zoster. And I went running to Tasso to say, guys, I think I have HIV. And they tested and said, no, you're really stressed. What is it you're stressed about? And actually, at that point, my face was beginning to pull to one side, so I was going to get a stroke.
Oh my God.
So I had to be cancelled. That whatever it is that you're stressing about, please let go. And it's at that point that I said, I'm going to choose me. And so at that point, I was also communicating and saying, you know what, I'm done with this marriage struggle. If you really love the marriage, work it. For me, I think I'm going to die in it. So I made it clear that I'm not fighting for it anymore. So when he left for South Africa, I think it was like, now I think I'm done with this marriage. But for me, as much as I said that, I knew that I was still in it. Whichever way. Only that I knew that I was trying to make sure that it doesn't take me down the road. So one of the things I told myself first was that I needed to let go of holding onto it and let it take its course, whichever direction it was going, because I think I was dying. Yeah. And so after that, now of course then we had finished with fertility treatments. The issue of fertility was not the issue. We were now trying to keep the marriage together. So he left, and when he came back, we started the divorce process, and in 3 years we were divorced, but the most painful 3 years of my life. I keep telling people divorce is the thing I don't wish for my worst enemy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. You're fighting over this, fighting over that.
Who's taking what?
Yeah, we were privileged not to have children. It would have really gone nasty. But if we had children, they would have gone away with so many scars, because we fought a lot. And we were fighting over property, partly because, you know, I had contributed a big chunk, and the land that the house we had built was the land was in his names, and then we had built a house in the village, which I could not claim, in his village, and then we had bought lots of, you know, pieces of land, but I just needed peace.
But I just want to ask, where does the line draw when you've come from a place of love to a place of strain and fighting? Like, where does that all disappear to?
Let me tell you why it was the worst time of my life. I was always caught unawares. You know, like when someone would say, what if you go and he has done this? I say, no. But my husband, the way I know him, he can't. He knows also how much he put on this.
He knows!
And he knows also. Yeah, I mean, to be funny of him to want to take it.
Whoa.
And guess what? If you go to court and they tell you put 8 bags of cement.
What?
On the house, and they are willing to give you back your 8
So you're
bags
like
of
me, I'm
cement.
going to fight.
Yes. So now then the fighting thing in me came up. But I was fighting when I was already tired. I was a wounded lion, totally wounded. And so when time came and I was kicked out of the house, as soon as the divorce was announced, LCs knew that I was in someone's house and we were divorced and I'm not getting out. So everybody just said, Madam, be as if you're getting out of the house. So I remember that night, it was around 7 or 8. I packed, I had already adopted 2 girls. Yeah, I adopted one, I'm fostering one. So one of the girls came with her mother, who was my maid at the time. She was 8 months. Then I adopted one when she was 6 months. So I have 2 daughters. So the other one's mother is out of the country. So right now I'm taking care of 2 girls. And so what happened was that I packed my bags in my car. It was literally one suitcase with everyone's clothes that we could go out with. Meaning that I didn't go with all my clothes. I just picked what I knew I could pick, so that I first catch my mind and say, how do I come back to pick my stuff? So it was one suitcase, one mattress in my car, and my maid and 2 kids.
And we went,
At night, we just went looking for where to spend the night. And my cousins had 1 bedroom, 1 sitting room. And I was still struggling, looking for... And during that process, I really wasn't working. Like, I had long resigned from my job. So I was doing business, but because of the fights, I was so unstable. It wasn't productive. So I was really broke. My family was really the one that was supporting me at that time. So I remember looking for a house, and all the houses that were like 500K were so ugly. Coming from your own house that you had put your love,
your money,
Italian tiles in it. I used to travel to China to buy stuff for people's houses, so I'd keep bringing things for my house. I put so much love in it, so much love in it. And I literally just walked out. So I came back and just packed a few things I could pack and walked out of the house. And the day I walked out, I said I will never
come back. All right. So that's quite a story. And I just want to touch a bit on something. You ended the fertility treatment because now you know that, you know what, I'm done with this. At what point did you decide now to adopt, and how did you go through that?
Okay, so I adopted when my husband left the last time.
Yeah, the one of South Africa, of South Africa.
3 months down the road, I just had this self-counseling, like, you know what, I actually met a friend, a guy who was a pastor from Nigeria, and he told me, you know what, women, I don't know why you guys make yourselves suffer. Look for a child and make yourself happy. Why are you waiting to have biological children? And it's like he was, in my language, say, yeah, syndicalotan, the asindika asitamie, I was just about to I was giving it thought,
Yeah.
but I was scared.
Yeah.
So I just walked into Sunny Baby's home and I said, I'd like to adopt a child. There was a child who was not attached. You don't choose it. They just say, you just write and say, I'd like a child between 3 to 6 months, blah, blah, blah.
And they give you, okay.
So they allocate one to you. And I took her home, record time 1 month.
Wow.
If anybody has adopted out there, I don't think anyone has.
It's a long process.
Yes. It was towards Christmas, and I started at the beginning of December. And I promised myself this was going to be my Christmas gift. And the reason why I decided to adopt is because I had been fostering my maid's kid, and I was enjoying the process. The kid was confused; she didn't even know who her mother was, and I was thinking to myself, the day she walks out of here, I will die.
You feel it because you feel like this is your
yes,
this is your child.
Because the moment I would come back home, it was like mommy has arrived, and she'd literally sleep in my bed. I mean, I had gotten so close, accustomed to her. So I thought to myself, let me just go and adopt a child.
Yeah.
So I got into Sunny Baby's home, and record time 1 month I had a baby for Christmas. Even the Sunny Baby's home were like, no, this can't be. I said, you know what? If you want me to camp here Christmas, I will.
Come here.
But I'm taking this kid home.
Yeah. And how has it been? Like, do you ever feel like this is not your own, or how is that? Because many people struggle and don't want to even open up the idea of adoption because they feel like, no, that would mean that I'm not having faith. That now I've gone elsewhere to get someone, or will I love this child like my own? How has that journey been like for you?
I think one thing I can tell you is that every woman is inherently a mother. We are naturals. And if your mind is geared to this whole thing, it just works.
Yeah.
I cancelled myself before I got the kid. I said, number one, should she be sick of anything that's curable or it might be terminal, but someone can live with it, like asthma or whatever, I was going to take her anyway. Yeah. So the only thing I was not going to take was HIV. Yeah. Because I just not because I have stigma or anything against it. I just said I just didn't want to think that how long. I felt like I had been through a lot of trauma. Yeah. I didn't want to also now get myself, and I was not emotionally in the right place either. Yeah. To take on a kid who needs that extra care. Yeah. So I just told myself one thing. Number one, whatever becomes of this child could become of my own child. True. True. That's so true. And so I'm going to mother this child and fight for her to the end. Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how we have so much in common. Even when they were attaching her to me, they said she cries a lot and is bubbly. Smiles a lot, laughs a lot, looks like she has a strong personality. Oh, and that was you. And she had big eyes, and they said, this kid would be the best for you. Yeah. So one of the things we have is that we fight a lot. Because you are the same. And that reminds me of my mom, me and my mom. We also fight a lot, so we're the same. Yeah. So it never takes me aback that, why am I struggling with her? I really do what I think I can do as a parent. Yeah. Sit down. She knows her story. We have had an open discussion about it. She knows that she's adopted. Yes. She knows the exact story. What happened, her mother died at birth, and her father gave her up for adoption. She knows it. It's been a painful journey. Yeah, because does that affect, how does that affect? I needed to tell her before she turned 12, because I didn't want her to be in her teenage. And learning from someone else even. Identity is actually still a crisis for her. Yep. So I wanted her to get bits of it. Even now, I'm still just opening bits to her to make sure that she can actually be able to embrace her credo. So one of the things we do is we discuss and say, the first time I told her, she was, I think, 7 years, on her 7th birthday, I said, some mummies have children in the tummy, other mummies have the children in the heart. And so for you, you're a child that I had in the heart. So I kept quiet and gave her a chance to ask questions. Do you have a question to ask? No, she went to play. She didn't understand. She didn't understand. Yeah. But she came back and said, but mommy, you said you had me in the heart. Oh. When she went to school and they taught them biology, that actually the baby is had in the tummy. He says, but mommy, how did you have me in the heart? Then we took that discussion further. Yeah. Wow. So I kept on pulling it out for her until when I told her the real truth about the mom dying when she was having her. So that was the biggest pain she's been through. Yeah. So she went to boarding school and she would cry. So when she came back, she told her sister that I've been crying the whole time. Why? I'm the reason why my mommy died.
Oh.
And I'm the reason why my dad gave me up for adoption, because the dad was married to somebody else and was having this kid out of wedlock.
Oh.
So he decided he needed to just give the child away. So it was, it's not been an easy journey, but all I can say is that we are managing well. Yeah, we managed to sit down and I told her, you see, God saw it that I desperately needed kids,
and he brought you
a mother. So he matched us and together, and I said, you know that mommy actually had you for me. And we don't have other people, it's just us, you know. So we better make this thing work. So we just, I mean, I just keep affirming her. I keep affirming her. And assuring her that she's loved no matter what. No matter what,
I love you. Yes. That's amazing to hear. So I just want to maybe follow on with the infertility journey, society pressures. How are you able to manage it? And you know, how would you help another person out there who is going through it? Because it's a lot to deal with, especially with the pressures outside. Did you face it?
Oh, of course. I mean, there's no one who goes through infertility and doesn't experience societal pressure. Some of the pressure is, okay, let me say it's at 3 fronts. One is that society has already come up with all sorts of stereotypes about infertility. And so what you're struggling with is actually your own beliefs. Over years you've heard that if you're not, you can't have children, then you're not woman enough. And so you're struggling with the fact that you're not woman enough. And that is the critical thing at that point that you're really struggling with. So even if no one is speaking to you,
you're telling it to yourself.
You're telling it to yourself, and you think everyone is pointing a finger. The other thing is that people got to say things out, not out of the bad heart, but insensitively. Like I remember someone saying, "Are you guys doing things right?" Like you actually need to do things right to get pregnant. People even get pregnant when they're wearing panties, you know. That was one of them. The other ones was Christians saying, "You guys, are you praying enough?" Others were,
"You don't have enough faith."
Yes, you know. There was always something that was said, and even just the silence was
speaking. It was loud.
For me, I think the silence was worse than the people who spoke.
Really?
Because it's like you're my auntie, my singer. You know that I am going through infertility, but you never come out to say what's going on. You know, you're an authority in my life. The best you can say is, how can I be of support to you?
But then it's a tricky thing, because you like, if you talk about it, then it's a problem. If you don't talk about it, then it's also a problem.
It's actually a very tricky thing for, I must say. Some people don't want you to say anything. But for me, it was the feeling of you're a hypocrite. For those who never reached out, especially who are closest to me, and let's say we meet on a regular, but you're never saying, you know, how are you going through this? Even if you're not saying, can I help? You're basically saying, I'm praying for you. You know, I want you to know that I'm praying for you. And I think it's important, if it's a very close person to you, you say, I don't know what it feels like. I may never know what it feels like. Or in your case, you will never know what it feels like. But it's just to say, if you need a shoulder to cry on, just know I'm here. I might not have anything to tell you, but I'm here. Because what happens is that the self-stigma is so loud, and the stigma that comes from out just comes to finish you off. And then should you have in-laws who come up with a certain notion, and sometimes, by the way, I must say, it's actually the man who is struggling with infertility, but the woman always shoulders it.
I know, she covers him, because no one ever says that.
It's rare that the man covers the woman, though.
They will go and talk.
They will go and talk. They will say, okay, my wife has this issue, but we are dealing. But most of my friends that are struggling, their husbands actually have the problem. And they're my age. I'm coming to 48. And they probably will never have children because they have chosen to protect this man. And so I think that the pressure from outside can really be loud, but your own pressure, your own stigma, having all those voices, if you're not having children, not women enough, if you're not giving the man a child, the way they say it, then what kind of wife are you? And then for the family, it's, you're not giving us grandchildren or whatever it is to take on the family legacy and all those things. So it's a struggle.
So how did you deal with that? How did you overcome?
I think it's time has healed. Time has healed. It's 15 years since I did the last fertility treatment. And then my relationship with God became better. I just wanted to understand what his mind was when he was letting this happen.
Yeah.
Because I had so many friends who I had, like I told you, would come in and go. Come in and go. So what was it about me that I could
it's
not?
refusing,
yeah. So I came to understand that when God is building your story, he is going to take it as far as he thinks it can go.
Yeah.
And I am aware that he could let it happen, that I could have children in the future, whenever. But I'm not putting my mind at it to the point where I am frustrated or feeling like time is running out. No. I've come to a point of rest to understand that, you know what, this had to be part of my journey. This had to be part of my story, because where I am now, an evolving woman, would never have been without that story.
Yeah, because I was just going to ask you, what have you done with this pain and this?
Absolutely.
What have you done?
One of the things, like I said, I've written a book, or I didn't talk about it. I'm an author and I've written a book, Bitch and Not Crushed, from where you have gotten that title. One of the things that I write about, or like I close the book on, is that I made it count. So whatever pain you're going through, make it count. You can't erase it. There are things you can't erase. Being an orphan alley, you can't erase it. You being even if it is having an abortion, whether you willfully did it or you know, you can't erase it. That's part of your story. Even if you pretend to have some sort of partial amnesia or selective amnesia, it is there. It's there. And so I said, how can I make this count? Because I cannot take back the years that I have lost. And so what I did was to say, let me go out, and I met with Maureen Otieku, who was my late brother's wife. We sat together after healing through the process, and we said, how can we help other women who are struggling with adversity? And we said, let's do this. That's where A Night with the King stemmed from. We decided, let's do a one-night thing. Just bring women for Women's Day. It was on the 8th, and my brother had died on the 8th on Women's Day. So it's like we were that was exactly 10 years since my brother passed. And she had been married, even had twins by that time. And then for me, it was also, I think, 7 years since my separation at that time. So I thought it was a good time for us to sit down and tell women our story. And hopefully somebody will pick a thing from there.
Definitely.
And so when we did it, we had 8 women turning up. 80? Yes.
Wow.
And we thought it was going to be a one-hit thing, you know.
One-hit wonder.
One-hit wonder.
No, it was not.
And it was not to be. It was just the inception or the start of Evolving Woman. So after that, women were like, you know what, okay, you've told us your story, but we are hurting. Can you counsel us, help us? We're like, oops, we are not counselors, we are not anything. Some of us had healed by the grace of God. I didn't even go for therapy. No, I didn't go for therapy. I just healed through the process, but I healed through the word of God. I came to a point where God was telling me, you are mine. I'll give up nations for you. And then he would give me scriptures, and they were just straight from the throne. Like someone wakes you up in the night, taps you and tells you, Jeremiah 33:3. Have you heard? Don't forget, Jeremiah 33:3. So for me, mine was a spiritual encounter that led to my healing. I just plugged in and realized, hey, by the way, I'm not my own. I was bought with a price. I was purchased by precious blood. And the scripture that kept on coming, his divine power has given me everything I need for life and godliness. And then I realized that it could have taken him 1 second to say, let there be children, let the marriage stay, blah, blah, blah. But I realized he had let it happen. And if he had let it happen, he is not mad, he's not crazy.
He knows.
Neither is he sleeping or slumbering. He's aware. And so I decided to embrace what he had brought my way. And then I realized that, yes, I was strong. God had actually given me supernatural strength. Because people would meet me and say, oh, they're strangers. They're like, oh, you're a very strong woman. They haven't heard my story, but they're just flowing in the prophetic. Just strangers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're a strong woman. God loves you because you're strong. And you've been through a lot, but God is going to use that.
And people who didn't know you?
Absolute strangers, like 4 times. And every time it was said to me, I would get angry and I would go and tell God, you said you not take us through what we can't handle. Me, I'm telling you this pain, I can't handle it. But guess what? out of it came Evolving Woman,
Wow.
which has since been able to, you know, help many women. We've had 364 women go through our programs, and many more women who have been able to heal through that process. We do a lot of, you know, healing from woundedness, because we speak from a point of experience.
Yeah.
And so it's been a lovely journey, knowing that we made it. I mean, God made it count.
And you made it through.
And I made it. Oh, I'm still here.
Yeah. I just want to ask, yeah, you've done amazing. But did you remarry? What's that like? What would you like to happen? Is there something you're looking forward to? Or, you know?
Do you know a nice guy who's like in his early 50s?
You never know. Yeah. You never know.
Maybe I'm speaking. If there's a nice guy out there, I am available.
Yes.
I am a single mom, like I said, but I'm open to marriage.
Okay.
And I know as a Christian, that is something that, you know, is something that needs to be discussed on that table, because many Christian girls, after divorce or separation, first of all, they don't allow themselves to divorce when the need comes.
Yeah.
The Bible says, can two walk together unless they agree? If someone doesn't want to walk with you, how could you force it?
You can't change
You
someone.
might actually stay there waiting for him for another 50 years, yeah, while you're seated waiting, and meanwhile his life is moving on.
Yeah.
So I came to terms with the fact that divorce was the only way out for me. I appreciated that, and then now I am open to getting married again. You know that the Church of Uganda doesn't wed people who are divorced. Yeah, and I'm so open to getting married by registry, and very okay with that, because marriage at the end of the day is actually not the wedding.
Yeah.
Marriage is your parents giving you consent and saying we are in it. For me, that's marriage. If your parents came and spoke and said we have given you our blessing, you can go
take the girl.
You go home and be married, you know. So I am not, of course I am much older than that. I'm for the age that I have right now, I cannot be fretting over those small little things. Yeah, I have been through all of that. Seen it. The world has spoken. They've speculated. Yeah, and I keep cracking a joke and saying that I have written a book so that I give you guys the Lugambo Bueno first hand.
There's no need to be jazzing
behind.
I've given it to you.
Just buy the book and read it.
Yeah, and jazz properly.
And jazz properly.
You know that story.
From a point of I know. Yeah. But otherwise, I'm open to marrying.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as we conclude, what are some of the things you tell young lady out there going through infertility, going through a hard time? How can she not be crushed?
Number one is that there is nothing too difficult for God.
Wow.
And he says he'll create a standard when the enemy raises a flood. There is no way you cannot get out of that situation. Yeah. I'm just speaking to the one who's probably tried to commit suicide because you feel you're at the end of the road. Fertility or children don't make you who you are. Some have children and they are really crying. So don't think that defines you. Two, I believe that when God delays in a certain area, he is actually grooming you to be able to stand secure in that area, like be able to speak to other people about that area, like find purpose in that area. Yeah. Because it's a struggle, you kind of master the art of getting out of it. Yeah. So there's certain things that you will never know, Lisa, that I have been through because I've been through infertility. And there are certain skills that I have picked on along the way that you will never get because I had to learn through the process. So don't worry, whoever you are out there, if you're going through infertility, one thing is for sure, God has not denied you because he hates you. He has held back because at the appointed time, he will make all things beautiful. But two, I also want to say that if marriage is not working, you need to sit down and ask yourself, do I want it? If you want it, fight for it. Yeah. If you feel like you've reached the end of the road, don't strive in it. Because this could kill you, by the way. And marriage is not the beginning and the end of life. It is just one of those things we go through along the way. So what happens to the single woman who will never get married? Was she cut out? Was she cast? Is it like there's something missing? No, marriage is a bonus. Yeah, that's how I look at it. Children are a bonus. Yeah. All those things that we're chasing after are a bonus. But what is the purpose for which you were brought into the world? That for me is the point of discussion. Find it and you'll find fulfillment.
And is this something Evolving Woman can help other women?
Yes, we have a 10-week self-discovery journey where at the end of it, you must find your purpose. And once you have found your purpose, then we are saying now you're ready to live a meaningful life.
Yeah.
So forget about all these things you've been doing. You might be a CEO of a certain company, you might be a mother, a wife, but you're still feeling like, is there more to life? There's more to life than this. We all feel that way.
I felt it.
Yeah? Until you find your purpose, then you settle.
Yeah.
Like now, I'll tell you that in finding my purpose, I have not made even as much money as I made when I was in the world making money.
Wow.
But there's this sleep I sleep.
Yeah.
If I can speak to one lady a day, that's my target.
It.
One lady a day, if I can make one lady a day happy, go to bed feeling fulfilled, I am done.
Yeah. Because many people,
yeah,
if you don't, sometimes you're doing life, you're 50, you've not discovered purpose, and then you die, you've just been there.
Empty.
No. Yeah.
You must find purpose. Find purpose, everything else will fall in place.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day also, it's also okay if you never had the children. And it's also okay if the marriage was not there.
That's tough. A tough pill to swallow.
Yes, but it's also okay. Because for God, you know, like now, the world could say you don't have children. But I'm sure if we went before God, he would say, I have given you 2 children. What do you mean that you don't have children?
Yeah.
Because I am literally doing
their
everything.
Mom.
I'm their mother. So God looks at life differently. So while you're there putting your stereotypes, you think this is how life should go, God is plotting other things. Yeah.
So you've told the ladies who are going through some sort of, you know, tough time. What about those of us outside? What do you have to tell us? Like, who are not going through it, the ones who are causing this pressure, what do you have to tell us? Because sometimes it's just, we just don't know, maybe.
One thing I would like to say is that everyone in this world has to go through adversity. Can you breathe on that one? It's either you are going through adversity, coming out of adversity, or preparing to get into it. Meaning that's a rest period.
Hey.
Because it might not be infertility for you. You will never go through that.
Yeah.
But there is something else where the one who's going through infertility will not be going through it. So everybody has their lubimbi. You must carry it graciously. So it might be that you have kids, you have your husband, you're happily married, but your husband doesn't have a job. And you're waiting, and it becomes 5 years, it becomes 8, becomes 10, becomes a thorn in the flesh. And you have to be the sole breadwinner.
Yeah.
That's one. 2, you might have the children, have the marriage in place, your husband has a job, but you don't have a job, and his job is enough to take care of you, but you're never happy because you don't have a job.
Or you have a sick child.
Or you have a sick child, yes. Or you have a sick child and that's your life, like job.
Yeah.
Everybody has something that they will go through. And the Bible makes it clear, the troubles of a righteous man are many, but the Lord delivers him from them all. He's not saying you won't have some, he's saying he will deliver you from them all. All. But he's promising that they'll be there. He even adds in another scripture and says, be of good cheer, I have already overcome the world. Meaning that he's not protecting you from them. He's actually letting you get into them. But he has already overcome. And he will raise a standard no matter what. So once you have that firm assurance, when you're going through any form of adversity, it can't even just be poverty. It can be your house crumbles. Yeah? It can be your house is set on fire and you lose everything. I don't know what adversity awaits each of us. But the difference is when I was going through the adversities, I was really, really like, why me?
Yeah.
But now it's no longer why me, it's like, what's the next one and how ready am I for it?
Whoa.
And I keep cracking a joke and telling the devil, by the way, if I didn't die then,
nothing is
I'm
happening
not going
now.
to die now.
Yeah. And what I pick is that then we need to be gracious to everyone.
Yes.
Because, like you've said, you're either in it, going through it, or preparing. So please, don't just talk, insensitive, because my friend, tomorrow you'll expect someone else to be kinder to you. So please be kind. You don't know what people are going through and what they have overcome. Can I hug you? Oh, thank you for sharing your story, guys. I hope you've picked something. Oh my God. Please check out Evolving Woman on Instagram. Where else can they find you? Facebook,
LinkedIn, YouTube.
Guys,
we're everywhere. And we have we are preparing for our our 8-week, 10-week self-discovery journey called EZA.
When is it starting?
It starts on the 1st of April. And it is, if you would like it virtual, it's 650,000 shillings, which can be paid in installments. Ladies, it's an investment that you choose to do for yourself. You discover yourself and try and unpack yourself and repack yourself after understanding the whole, every bit of who you are. And then it's 800,000 for those who would like to do the physical.
So when is the next cohort?
The next cohort will be, I think, in July.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Guys, check out their social media pages and keep up to date with everything that Pamela is doing. It's been amazing. She's discovered her purpose through her pain. She has healed and she's helping so many. You too can go through it. If she could go through all this, you guys, anything is possible. Yeah. My name is Kusiima. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. I'm always here to inspire.